smoke jumpers were it was a temporary summer job. And so they said, well, what are you going to do for the rest of the time? I said, well, I don't know. I'll find something to do, but as long as I jump for the summer, that'd be it. But unfortunately, on my second year, 1957, unfortunately, we jumped on a big 16-man fire in Salmon River in Idaho. And I hit some rocks and I busted my left foot. So that was the end of that. That was the end of that. I guess I could have stayed on, but after that I just worked on fire whenever I could, and I said, well, I'm going to have to be satisfied with that.
Well, okay, so you finished with the Army Airborne, and then you started this long journey, you called it. So what's the long journey? Tell me what that is.
Well, having to leave the military, coming through San Antonio, making arrangements for the family, and but as it turned out, I didn't know where to make the contact to apply for smoke jumping. So I was working there in San Antonio one day, and I saw in the front page of Life magazine, I saw a big forest fire on the front page. And so I bought the magazine and I read it, and it had a lot of addresses of a Royal Seco Ranger Station and all that down in Pasadena, California. So I said, well, at least now I know who to contact. So I told my wife, I said, we're gonna go to California. And she was very surprised. Oh, really? What are we gonna do? I said, I don't know. But we're going, I said, I'm gonna go smoke jumping one way or the other. So I landed in California, and got me a job here and a job there, and then I finally ended up with a Royal Seco Ranger Station as a hot shot. And right off I told the forester that what my mission was, that I wanted to join the smoke jumpers. So he said, well, that'd be fine. And as I recall, 2 fire seasons were required, but I only worked one, but the forester gave me a good recommendation. So I sent it in, and later on I received a postcard. It was a letter from headquarters there in Missoula, Region 1, says, sorry, but we don't like to hire people with family because there's no big insurance or anything like that to take care of accidents or things like that. And so I responded with, well, I feel sad that I was not accepted, but that I didn't know how I was going to do it, but somehow or other I was going to join the smoke jumpers and send it in. So I went on about my business, and next thing I know, I received a postcard. You have been accepted. If anyone that's determined to join the smoke jumper, well, we'd like to hire you, you know. So I reported to Missoula, Montana for training, you know.
And that was 1956?
1956.
Okay.
Yes, the spring of 1956.
So that was the farthest north you'd been up in that country. You hadn't been up there
Up to that point,
yeah.
Yes. I had been up north with the Army up on the New York side, but not in the West.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting.
So what do you remember about the overhead, for example, the people running the operation? What was your impressions, and what do you remember?
I thought it was a wonderful operation, not knowing much about it, but having been military, I thought that I did not know at the time that. So they said that the smoke jumpers trained the first group of military personnel the job, and that they had gone back to Fort Benning, Georgia, and eventually became the Airborne Training Center. I did not know that at the time. Also, another thing that struck me was that we paraded, 82nd Airborne paraded for then President Eisenhower's inauguration. And when I arrived in Missoula, I come to find out that the buildings, the loft, the barracks, and all that were new, and that President Eisenhower had been there for the dedication. So I was quite impressed. So everything went very well, and I thought it was a wonderful organization.
And what about the training? What do you remember of the training?
The training, I thought it was going to be rougher than the military, but again, the missions were different, and they didn't push as much as the military did, because the military's objective was to train them, but if they didn't have it, sort of, to weed them out. And so they really let you have it, in that form. Where the smoke jumpers was different. They were there to train you and to qualify you if they could. Some of them did fail, but not very many.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. I love the military, but there's times that you want to, exercise strong emphasis on something, and then there's other times that, or in the military, you have all kinds of levels of background, education, and so on. Where the smoke jumpers, generally, it'd be college or university students, so they're more motivated and so on. So that to me was a big difference.
So who do you remember amongst the administration or that ran the smoke jumper depot? Anybody leave a big impression on you those years you were there?
Yeah, well, Fred Brower was the foreman of the smoke jumpers, and then there was I can't recall his name right offhand. I'm getting bad at my memory. But anyway, he was the assistant, and he lived on site there. And it was odd that when I arrived, I had a 1936 Buick that I bought for $25 in California, and I drove it to Missoula with my family. So we arrived at the Smokejumper Center. I forget his last name now, but it went by Al, and he lived there, and so I pulled up to the center there to kind of observe and see where I was going to have to report. So he came over from his house and walked over to the car, and the first thing he did, he looked at the family in the car, and he says, "Is that your family?" I said, "I hope so." I said, "Yes, sir, it is my family." And he was quite surprised. He says, "Well," he says, we generally, they come here by themselves, and in case they don't make it, then they don't have to worry about the family." And I said, "Well, sir, in the first place, I intend to make it. And on the second place, I want to make Montana my home, So I had to bring my family along." Oh, okay. So oddly enough, like I said, I broke up on the second season, but that didn't matter. Determination, I don't know whether the military had anything to do with it, but you have to be positive and drive on, so that was the way that I approached it. So I had a big impression with the overhead at the time, and all the instructors that performed the jump school.
Do you remember your training, the training instructor, the lead trainer?
I remember everything like it was yesterday. The only thing I'm having trouble with now is with the names.
Yeah.